Sup YouTube, born in Asphodel Meadow here. Wouldn't it be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it just be so great if the things that theists tried to pass off about us atheists were true, at least to the theists? I've been talking to a lot of religious people on YouTube recently, and the things I've heard are fucking ridiculous. They're beyond any kind of, explanation as to how they could possibly exist in a person's head and not just completely overwhelm every other sense of logic. Like, if you thought that pink elephants that could fly were real, then I could understand you thinking some of the things that I've heard. But short of that, I don't understand it at all. I was talking to a guy on YouTube recently, and he told me that I was closed-minded for being an atheist, and that I had never been educated properly, and that I was ignorant, and that I shouldn't believe everything I hear. Wouldn't it be nice for the theists if that were true? Wouldn't it be just so great for them if atheists were just like a ragtag group of people who had just never examined what they thought critically and who had just never been educated in the proper ways of the world and who just believed everything they hear? It would be so great for them because it would make their lives a lot easier. Except for one thing, it's not true. What religious people fail to realize is that many, many, many atheists, the vast majority, were born into a religious household. Like myself, I was born into a religious household. I went to church every Sunday for the first couple of years of my life. It wasn't until I just looked at the fucking world and I was like, you know what? I've always had this belief, but this belief contradicts what I see around me and what I believe to be true. So therefore, this belief must be flawed. That's an open-minded and critically analyzed thought, okay? And this guy told me, don't believe everything you hear. Really? Like, I can't believe there are some religious people who will say that to atheists. Let me give you my impression of a dialogue in a religious person's lifetime, not saying when it happens, but whatever, okay? So, these two parents are talking to a religious child. The parents say, little boy or girl, God created everything. And then God did whatever else that their religious God happened to do, and God is good, blah, 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 okay? And the child says, okay, and then later on, a scientist or a well-educated person comes up to them and says, hey, it's possible that the universe was created and that things became complex without the necessity for a God. And what do religious people often say? Lies! Yes, that's what they do say, very often. Why is that? Because they were told something and they believed it. Therefore, no matter how much evidence could possibly come to usurp this belief, it will never be enough because they just happen to be told about religion first, and it's been ingrained in their heads. So, for a religious person to call me or any other atheist who wasn't born into a household strictly and dogmatically raised an atheist, for any religious person to call an atheist who wasn't raised like that, like closed-minded, is absolutely ridiculous and ludicrous to me. Here's an interesting one. The atheist antidote, Brock Lawley. I was once watching one of his videos. I know, but it gets better. He said, comparing the works, the literary works of Michael Behe, who's a creationist scientist of some kind, I don't know, some intelligent design advocate, to the writings of Richard Dawkins, are like comparing the writings of a well-educated person to that of a 4-year-old. I don't think that's verbatim, but that's what he said. He said the word 4-year-old. And I was just like, no fucking way. Dude, you don't seriously believe that. Richard Dawkins is a mature, well-educated, world-renowned fucking evolutionary biologist. He's a damn scientist and an accomplished writer. As I said, wouldn't it be really nice if the writings of Richard Dawkins were just the scribblings of a 4-year-old? It would be really nice for them, wouldn't it? Because it would make their arguments seem so much more logical and plausible that intelligent people believe them, and yet the people who claim to be educated are all stupid fucking morons, right? That would be so good for them. The thing is, it suffers from the fault of not being true. Like, I've read The God Delusion. It's the only Richard Dawkins book I've ever read. I happen to know he's a skilled writer. But no, Brock Lawley, no. He doesn't buy your bullshit. He doesn't buy the fact that Richard Dawkins has written some 11 books or some shit, and he doesn't buy the fact that Richard Dawkins has an education, and he doesn't buy the fact that he's a scientist. No. That's completely ludicrous. But what he does believe is that Richard Dawkins has the writing style of a 4-year-old. Like, seriously. It would be nice, but it's not true. Another interesting fallacy. a lot of religious people say, oh yeah, well you think there are so many people killed in the name of religion. What about Hitler and Stalin and Mao and all those other fucking dictators who are atheists? You know what? I've heard this countless times, and it's been refuted countless times, and it pisses me off that I swear I've commented on videos and had to say this maybe like a dozen times in the last 2 weeks. I shit you guys not, okay? So, let me say it once, just for everyone who hasn't heard it yet. And if you have, I'm sorry for boring you, okay? Hitler was a Catholic. But even if, and I'm pretty sure the other people were atheists, but even if Hitler was the most fucking, like, devout atheist ever, if such a thing is possible, even if he wore a big capital red A on his t-shirt and went around telling people, shaking their hands and greeting them with, hey, I'm glad there's no God, it would still not justify the fallacy of saying those people he killed or had killed were in the name of atheism. Hitler killed everyone he killed for socio-political reasons, nothing more. He was just a Jew-hating son of a bitch. It had nothing to do with the fact that he was an atheist. There has never been anyone killed, to my knowledge, never publicly anyway, for being, by an atheist for atheistic reasons. You know why? Because atheism isn't a belief. It's not, like, the notion of atheism doesn't contain anything, any kind of moral directives. It doesn't contain any kind of ideologies. All atheism is, all it is the notion that there is no God. Hitler didn't believe there was a God. He also probably didn't believe in the flying spaghetti monster. Do you believe in the flying spaghetti monster? No, I rather doubt you do. But does that mean that you guys are both flying spaghetti monster atheists? And if so, how dare you be a flying spaghetti monster atheist? Many, many millions of people were killed by flying spaghetti monster atheists. In fact, everyone in history who's ever been killed has been killed by a flying spaghetti monster atheist. How dare you try to come in here with your beliefs about flying spaghetti monster atheism and look at me with a straight face and tell me my religion is responsible for deaths. Because your atheism, your flying spaghetti monster atheism, is responsible for more. I seriously fucking hate when people try to come to me with that fucking argument. Because it's so widely distributed. It's fucking everywhere, and it's such a huge fallacy. And it's one of those things that it would be really nice if Hitler was an atheist and went around and killed people who he thought should die because of atheism. But not only did that not happen, it's not possible. That's the thing. It's not even fucking possible that that kind of thing would be true. I don't know how. I'd like a religious person to come to me and explain to me in detail how not believing in a God and then killing someone causes you to have killed that person for atheism. Anyone who's ever sat down and thought about this knows that it's just completely fallacious bullshit. But nope, it's still regurgitated everywhere. It's still fucking so widespread. It's probably more widespread than fucking the common cold. Why? Because it's really, really easy to believe without questioning it, and it would really be nice if it were true, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it just be so sweet if those things I just said were true? That way we could just disregard atheism and just move on with our lives as happy religious people. Thing is, it's not true. But hey, don't think about it too hard. I mean, at least you can be sure you're putting your faith in good hands, right? Right? I'm born in Asphodel Meadow, and you're either part of the problem or you're anti-religious. Peace, and I'll see you guys later.